Hey everyone, I'm back, and today we're going to be talking about Anatomy of a Fall. And this movie came out in 2023, and it's a film that is nominated for Best Picture. I don't know if it's going to win or not at the time of me recording this, but I thought this movie was pretty good. I'm not in love with it, but the parts that I thought were good were pretty great. And all in all, I thought this movie was really solid at bunch of parts, and it was also a very smart and kept me engaged. And I would say my favorite scenes in this movie was when it was in court. Those scenes were fantastic, and that's when I was interested in the plot of the movie the most. And that's not to say the rest of the story is bad or the rest of the movie is like kind of bad because of it. What I'm saying is that that's where the movie kind of peaks for me in terms of my own personal enjoyment, where the rest of the movie is kind of like, yeah, it's good, but not as good as some of the other stuff that I've mentioned earlier. And I think the characters are really strong in this movie, and right away from the first scene that you see them in, you know exactly everything you need to know about the character. They're very well established very quickly. And that's what I like, and I love how information is presented in this movie. And this is a very slow-paced movie, and I'll get into that more later, but this movie does really take its time so you can, like, get as much information as possible from each of these characters, and for the most part, I think they really make it work. There was a nice attention to detail when it came to sound in this movie. Like you would hear like just sound from the left speaker, and that's because that's where sound is coming from the cameraman's point of view, from the whatever you want to say, if I said that correctly. And that stuff I thought was great and handled pretty well. And there were plenty of scenes there where no music was used at all, and I thought it was very effective for not using music. And there would be like 20-minute gaps of like no music being used at all. And at points, the movie did kind of feel a bit stressful because of it at points, just from the dialogue alone. And at points, this movie did remind me a little bit of Gone Girl. Not nearly as good, though, for me, in my opinion. And it was only making me think of that movie for the first act of the movie, and then it just completely goes into its own direction and doesn't become a complete copycat of Gone Girl. And that's something that I did like about it. And now I'm going to get into a few issues that I have with the movie. And I'll get to one issue that I don't really take off points for. But there's just two shots in the movie that I don't really like. One of them is like a POV shot almost towards the end. And I thought it was kind of distracting because it wasn't consistent with the rest of the movie. And there was a point where they used a digital zoom, and the way it was presented, it kind of looked like an edit you would see in a YouTube short. And I find it distracting in YouTube shorts, and putting it in a feature film is no better, in my opinion. And I did mention the pacing of the movie, and there were scenes in this movie where I was really engaged with it, but all in all, I do feel as though it could have been just 2 hours and not 2.5 hours, because I don't really feel as though the runtime is justified, because it didn't always have me, and it was mostly just the first act that was dragging for me. And I find the second act to be the most engaging, as opposed to Act 1 and Act 3. Like, those acts I'm invested in the least, because it's just not that interesting for me. And also, I kind of liked watching our main character getting grilled in court, because I don't really like her. But I do feel as though this is a film where you don't necessarily have to be on one side or the other for the movie to work. Like, you can say that the main character is a likable character and the movie will work. If you feel otherwise, the movie will still work. And I do think that's a strength for this movie. And that's about all I can say about Anatomy of a Fall without spoiling anything. It was a good movie. I enjoyed it. I liked the experience. I liked what it explored. And It has some really great scenes in it, really great characters, great usage of music and sound. It's just a really solid movie that I think you should check out. And with all that being said, I'm going to give Anatomy of a Fall a 7 out of 10. Thank you for watching my videos as always. If you enjoyed this review, be sure to leave a like and comment down below you thought of Anatomy of a Fall, and my social media links, they will all be in the description, so follow me there. And last but not least, subscribe to be a part of Fully Nation, and I'll see when I get my next review up, and that is going to be for She's Gotta Have It. So look forward to that, but until I get that up, thank you for watching and have a great day.